Good morning, cadets. In the previous session, we have discussed about the dipole placed in a uniform electric field and the torque experienced by dipole placed in a uniform electric field. And we calculated the torque, tau equal to Pe sin theta, or vector torque tau equal to P vector cross E vector, where P vector is the dipole moment vector and vector E is uniform electric field vector, right? Based on this, let us solve one simple problem. Okay, an electric dipole with a dipole moment 4 into 10 to the power of minus 9 coulomb meter. Read, coulomb meter. 4 nano coulomb meter is aligned 30 degree with direction of uniform electric field of magnitude 5 into 10 raised to 4 Newton per coulomb. Calculate the magnitude of torque acting on the dipole. Calculate the magnitude of torque acting on the dipole. It's very simple. Magnitude of dipole moment is given P, and the angle of orientation theta is given, and electric field magnitude is given. So just substitute in the equation tau equal to Pe sin theta, you get the result. Okay. So we have torque tau equal to P cross E. So magnitude of torque tau is equal to Pe sin theta. Just substitute the values of Pe and theta. So P is 4 into 10 raised to minus 9. Electric field is 5 into 10 to the power of 4 Newton per coulomb into sin theta. Angle is 30 degree. So if this is the electric field vector, the dipole is making an angle 30 degree. This is the dipole moment vector, is making an angle 30 degree with electric field vector. So what is the torque experienced by dipole? Minus Q plus Q. Very simple. Just multiply this. Sin 30 is 1 by 2. So we get 4 into 5 into 10 to the power of minus 9 plus 4 into sin 30. Sin 30 is 1 by 2. Cancel this 2 with 2. So we will get 2 with 4. We get 2 into 5. 2 into 5 is 10 into 10 to the power of minus 5. 10 to the power of minus 5. So therefore the torque experience, magnitude of the torque experience is 10 raised to minus 4. 10 multiplied by 10 raised to minus 5 gives us 10 raised to minus 4 Newton meter, or 10 raised to minus 4 joule. So the tendency of this torque is to turn the dipole and align it along the direction of electric field. So this is the case when the dipole is placed in the uniform electric field. Now next, what happens if the dipole is placed in the non-uniform electric field? Okay, let us discuss what happens when the dipole is placed in a non-uniform electric field. Okay. Now let us see what happens when a dipole is placed in an varying electric field. Let us say there is an electric field which is non-uniform. What happens when a dipole is placed in a non-uniform electric field? Consider a case where there is an electric field which is increasing in this direction. Electric field whose magnitude is increasing from point to point, increasing in this direction. Assume that there is a strong charge, negative charge here. There is a strong negative charge. If you assume that there is a strong negative charge, so you will find an increasing electric field towards the negative source charge. Just assume. Then from point to point, as you approach this source, the electric field is increasing. It is increasing towards the source negative charge. Assume that there is a negative charge, right? So the assume that this is the dipole with its dipole moment P parallel to electric field. In the first case, P is parallel to electric field. Means alignment of dipole moment and electric field are in the same direction. Then what happens? The plus Q charge experiences an attractive force, that is a strong force in the direction of electric field. So this is F plus, which is a strong force in the direction of increasing field. So this is the force experienced by plus charge. Force experienced by the negative charge is less force because it is at another position, where if you consider these two positions, this is the point of higher electric field and this is the point of lower electric field. As a result, the negative charge experiences less force. So this becomes F minus. So when you look at these magnitudes, F plus is definitely greater than F minus. So here F plus being greater than F minus, and they are in opposite direction. Therefore, net force is not zero. Net force is not zero. So it will be acting in this direction, in the direction of increasing electric field. Net force is acting in the direction of increasing electric field. So this minus this is take, the net force is acting in the direction of increasing electric field. So this you can write as net force F. Therefore, the net force is non-zero. Whereas in the case of uniform electric field, the net force is zero. Right? This is the case when the dipole moment is parallel to increasing electric field. Now let us suppose if this dipole is placed with its dipole moment anti-parallel to electric field. If P is anti-parallel to electric field. So in this case, suppose this is the orientation of dipole. This is the direction of P now, direction of P, and as earlier, let us say this is the direction of increasing electric field, where from point to point electric field is increasing. As assumed earlier, the electric field is increasing in this direction. Then what happens? If the electric field is increasing in this direction, definitely, you see, if you assume that there is a negative source charge, the negative charge Q experiences a greater amount of force, which is repulsive, and positive charge experiences lesser attractive force. That is, if you mark it as plus Q, the force experienced by this is lesser magnitude. This force is of lesser magnitude and this force is of greater magnitude. So this is how I will show. This is F minus and this is F plus. As a result, the dipole starts moving in the direction of net force. So this becomes the direction of net force. This is the direction of net force. So we write direction of net force. It means the dipole starts accelerating in the opposite direction, in the direction of electric field, and dipole moment are anti-parallel. Then the dipole starts accelerating in the opposite direction. So this is the direction of force. As a result, the entire dipole starts moving in the opposite direction. So this is the case when the dipole moment is either parallel or anti-parallel to electric field. If it is not parallel or anti-parallel, if the dipole is suppose placed like this, then what happens? If it is placed in an increasing electric field, as mentioned earlier, increasing electric field. If this is the direction of dipole moment and this is the direction of electric field, then as noticed earlier, you see the net force must be in the direction of increasing electric field. This is the direction of net force. So as a result, the dipole undergoes a torque. It undergoes a torque. After undergoing torque, you see it aligns along the direction of electric field and accelerates along the direction of increasing electric field. So it undergoes torque as well as acceleration. So in this earlier case, there is no torque because here the net torque is 0 in this first case. In both the cases, net torque is 0. You can say in both the cases, torque experience is 0. But here in this case, torque is non-zero. So it experiences torque and then net force also. Experiences torque as well as net force. So as a result of torque, it aligns along the direction of increasing electric field and then it starts accelerating in the direction of increasing electric field. Same case, if it is placed in the reverse manner. Suppose this is the way if it is kept, then what happens? If this is the direction of electric field, then increasing electric field. As a result, what happens? It will tend to turn in this sense. Earlier, it is a torque, that is clockwise torque. Here it is going to be anti-clockwise torque. And after experiencing anti-clockwise torque, it undergoes net force in the direction of increasing electric field. It undergoes net force in the direction of increasing electric field. So in general, what we can say, when there is an increasing electric field, or in general if there is a non-uniform electric field, then the dipole undergoes torque, then accelerates either in the direction of electric field when the dipole moment and electric field are parallel to each other. When the dipole moment and electric field are anti-parallel to each other, then it experiences torque and then accelerates in the opposite direction. This is how we control. To give you one good example is a very familiar example. When we take a plastic comb and rub it against the dry hair and bring it near the pieces of paper, what do we observe? The pieces of paper, they jump and get attracted towards the rubber comb. The rubber plastic comb is electrified. It is a charged one. So when it is a charged one, when a charged body is brought near the pieces of paper, the pieces of paper are neutral. Then what makes these pieces of paper to jump and get stuck to the rubber comb? There lies this explanation of non-uniform electric field. At a distance, there is a non-uniform electric field. It is quite stronger, closer to the charged comb. The pieces of paper being neutral, the charged comb induces charges means the dipole moments are created. The charge separation is created. As a result, we call it as the pieces of paper undergo polarization. Charge separation takes place. As a result, the dipole moments are created. When the dipole moments are formed, the dipoles first undergo torque and then accelerate towards the direction of increasing electric field. As a result, they topple and jump towards the charged cone. Afterwards, after getting stuck to the charged cone, within few moments, the pieces of paper get neutralized, and again they are dropped back. They fall back down to the surface. So this is how one can explain the dipole moments in non-uniform electric field. So they experience torque because of non-uniform electric field, as well as they experience net force. The net force is non-zero. Okay. Now this is about the dipole placed in uniform as well as non-uniform electric field. We are going to discuss about these dipoles in greater length when we discuss about the types of molecules like polar molecules, non-polar molecules, how these polar and non-polar molecules behave when placed in a uniform electric field. What is the meaning of dielectricity? What is the meaning of polarization? What is the meaning of electric field in the dielectric? So all these things we learn in great length at the end of the topic. Okay. Now, before I conclude, we would like to solve one simple problem. The problem is not based on this dipole. The problem is of charged particle in uniform electric field. Charged particle, like let us say an electron. What happens when an electron is taken in a uniform electric field? How does it accelerate? Okay. And what is its time of fall? Let us calculate one simple example. Let us solve one example. This is a different case, nothing to do with dipole. It is a case of an electron falling through an uniform electric field. Next case is a proton falling through a uniform electric field. Look at the example. An electron falls through a distance of 1.5 centimeter. It falls through a distance of 1.5 centimeter in a uniform electric field of magnitude 2 into 10 raised to 4 electric field, 2 into 10 to the power of 4 Newton per Coulomb electric field. So the parallel lines that are shown here between the parallel plates, charge plates, shows the uniform electric field. So the direction of the uniform electric field in the first case, in the figure A, is upward, right? The direction of field is the reversed, keeping its magnitude unchanged. The electric field is same, but now in the second case, it is reversed, downward, vertically downward, and a proton is made to fall. A proton falls now through the same distance, 1.5 centimeter, through the same distance 1.5 centimeter, right? This is figure B. This is vertically falling proton, this is vertically falling electron. Compute the time of fall in each case. What is the time of fall to fall through 1.5 centimeter height in each case? Contrast the situation with that of free fall under gravity. Okay. Now let us say, look at the first case, where an electron is made to fall through an uniform electric field. In the first case, electric field is vertically upward from positively charged plate to the negatively charged plate. So you can see the uniform electric field shown by parallel field lines. The parallel field lines show that it is a uniform electric field in this particular space. The electron is falling down. So when the electron is falling down, let us say it is falling down starting from rest. The electron falls down starting from rest. When it falls through rest through 1.5 centimeter, how much time is taken? So to calculate that, first of all, look at this. The electric field is vertically upwards, but electron being negatively charged, it gets accelerated towards the positively charged plate. So as it falls down, it undergoes acceleration. Its speed keeps on increasing because it is getting attracted towards the positively charged plate. In the same way, when a proton is made to fall, reversing the electric field of the same magnitude, same situation occurs here also. The electric field is vertically downwards, so the proton being positively charged, it also undergoes acceleration. Its speed also keeps on increasing, but the acceleration is along the direction of electric field. Here acceleration is opposite to the direction of electric field. That is the only difference. Now we can calculate what is the acceleration of electron and what is the acceleration of proton. Before that, you are asked to calculate what is the time of fall in each case. Compute the time of fall in each case. Right? So first we'll write what is the acceleration. Here electric field is given. Magnitude of electric field is 2 into 10 to the power of 4 Newton per coulomb, and height through which it has fallen. The height is given 1.5 centimeter. That is 1.5 into 10 raised to minus 2 meter. 1.2 into 10 to the power of minus 2 meter. Then yes, height is given, electric field is given. The mass of electron, you must remember, mass of electron, ME, is 9.1 into 10 to the power of minus 31 kg. The question arises, what is the requirement of mass? Now look at this. When the electron falls down, it is falling under the action of uniform electric field. We neglect gravity, right? So it is falling down only due to electric field. So the acceleration of the electron can be calculated using Newton's second law. Mass of electron into acceleration of electron is equal to force exerted on the electron. Force on electron due to electric field E, is given by force equal to charge of electron into electric field. Charge of electron, let us say it is E be the representation of charge of electron. Usually we take E to represent the charge of electron. We know it is negative charge. Let us take the magnitude. So E into E, force is equal to E into E. So we can now equate this force using Newton's second law. Force on electron is also given by mass of electron into acceleration of electron. ME, AE. ME to represent electron mass, AE to represent acceleration of the electron. So equating these two, therefore we get, we want to calculate acceleration. So ME, AE is equal to E into E. Therefore, AE is equal to EE divided by mass of electron. So this gives us the acceleration of the electron. By just substituting charge of electron, electric field and mass of the electron, we will be able to calculate acceleration of the electron. Since electric field is uniform, so acceleration is also constant. It's going to be uniform acceleration. Now we can calculate what is the time of fall. Time of fall to fall through a distance of 1.5 centimeter. Starting from rest, that is u equal to 0, the time of fall. Time of fall can be calculated using second equation. H is equal to ut plus half at square. Ut plus half at square. This H is where we can take 1.5 centimeter and A is this one which we have substituted, which just now we have calculated, and T is the time to be calculated. U is the initial speed with which the electron is going to fall. So initial speed is 0, starting from this. Therefore, if you substitute this, H becomes 0 plus half AT square. Therefore, we get T square is equal to 2H divided by AE. 2H divided by AE. So this implies T is equal to under root square root of this, square root of 2H divided by AE. Now we can substitute what is the value of AE and substitute the values of H, electric field, charge of electron and mass. We will be able to calculate what is time of fall of an electron. In the same way we can calculate time of fall of proton also. So time of fall of electron TE therefore equal to square root of 2H divided by AE. AE is EE upon ME. So ME comes to the numerator. So that's how by substituting the values we will be able to calculate what is the time of fall of electron. So square root of 2 into height 1.5 centimeter 10 to the power of minus 2 into 1.5 into mass of electron 9.1 into 10 to the power of minus 31 whole divided by charge of electron 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 31 minus 19, yes, that is charge of electron 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb into given electric field 2 into 10 raised to 4. So if you calculate this time of fall of electron comes out to be 2.9 into 10 raised to minus 9 seconds. 2.9 into 10 to the power of minus 9 seconds. You can write 2.9 nanoseconds. In the same way, we can calculate time of fall of proton in the second case. TP. TP can be same way written as 2 into height. The height is also same here, 1.5 centimeter divided by AP, where AP is the electric field. AP is the acceleration of the falling proton. Acceleration of the falling proton due to electric field. So, if we substitute this 2 into 1.5 into 10 to the power of 10 to the power of in the same way 10 to the power of minus 2. So next step I should have written here. Next step is square root of 2H into mass of proton divided by E. E is the charge of proton. Charge of proton is same as charge of electron. There is no difference. Into electric field. Electric field is same. So 2H upon E is same. Only difference is mass of proton. We have to substitute the mass of proton. 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 27 kg. 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 27 kg. That we have to substitute. 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 27 whole divided by charge of proton and electron being same, and electric field is also same way. So if you calculate this, the answer comes out to be little longer time. It's going to be about 1.3 to 10 raised to minus 7 seconds. 1.3 into 10 to the power of minus 7 seconds. That is 130 nanosecond. Here it is almost 3 nanosecond. Here it is 130 nanosecond. So the time of fall of proton is very long compared to time of fall of electron. This is the reason. The reason is the mass of proton being quite heavier compared to mass of electron. Therefore, time of fall of proton is quite greater than time of fall of electron. Proton takes longer duration to fall. Proton takes a longer duration to get accelerated due to the same electric field compared to that of electron. The reason is mass of proton C is greater than mass of electron. It means time of fall in this case is dependent on mass of the charged particle. Whereas in case of free fall, whether it is electron falling freely or mass of proton, whether it is electron falling freely or proton falling freely, the time of fall is independent of mass. So let us calculate now acceleration of proton. This is acceleration of proton in the electric field. Acceleration of proton in the electric field is given by EE upon mv. EE upon mv. EE upon mv. E is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 90, and electric field is same 2 into 10 to the power of 4 divided by mass of proton. Mass of proton is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 27 kg. So if you just look at it, the answer comes out to be C. 1.6, if you cancel this with 1.6, so it comes out to be 2 into 10 to the power of minus 27 comes to the numerator, it becomes plus 27. Plus 27 plus 4, it becomes 10 to the power of 31. 10 to the power of 31 minus 90. So it comes out to be about 10 to the power of 12. So therefore acceleration of proton is 2 into 10 to the power of 12 meter per second square. 31 minus 19 comes out to be 10 to the power of 12. 2 into 10 to the power of 12 meter per second square. So this is the acceleration under the electric field, but acceleration due to gravity is hardly 9.8 meter per second square. So acceleration due to gravity is denoted by G, 9.8 meter per second square. So acceleration due to electric field is very high, very high compared to acceleration due to gravity. Therefore, the gravity is ignored. So this calculation implies a very important thing, that the acceleration under the electric field is given by EE upon nt and is of very high magnitude. Second thing is time of fall due to the uniform electric field. Time of fall in the uniform electric field depends directly on mass. It depends on mass, whereas for free fall, time of fall is independent of mass. This is the important thing to be noted. For any free fall body from a certain height, when you drop it, whether it is a light chalk or heavy rock, when it is dropped from the same height, the time to reach the ground is always same. It is independent of the mass when it is freely falling under gravity. But in case of electric field, the time of fall through same distance depends on its mass. It depends on its mass and it is inversely proportional to its charge. These are the two things to be noted. I think the points are clear. Okay. Thank you. Have a nice day.